Okay, here's one of my newest gardening projects. These are Innoculating or Shiitake mushroom, and I'm putting a lot of different mushrooms in. I'm just showing you these right now. And these are birch plugs, dowels from, I guess they're furniture dowels. And these is Paul Stamets company. You can go to fungi.com and get these. Okay, so you'll need those and those, and sometimes the hardest part to come up with, a nice log. You can see that I've been drilling holes in here. Drill the holes 2 inches deep, so there's a little pocket in behind for your mycelium to grow in. And I like to add a little water. I'm hoping I'm doing that right, but in any case, I'm adding a little water into the holes so that the mycelium is not dry. Okay, and try and do this on a moist day, and I'm in the cool shade right now, so alright. Okay, so you want to try and drill these in a somewhat of a diamond pattern. Alright, now we'll start with move my drill out of there. Don't want that getting wet. I'll just wet this whole thing down. You want your hands moist too with these plugs. And once you open the bag, you have to use them all. Rubber mallet. You can use a metal hammer if you have to, but you have to be a lot more careful. And when we're done this, we're going to use some beeswax, or in my case it's just canning wax. You can use canning wax or beeswax or cheese wax, and you don't have to 100% do that, but it's a good idea. You can see this is the mycelium. So what I do is I try to collect any that comes out on the edges of the plug, put it in the next hole. It's really tough stuff though, it adheres really well. That's all there is to it. Then we're going to let this log inoculate for, it'll be next July before we'll get any mushrooms out of it. Be the good Lord willing. We won't say what we do one day to the next, because we're like a shadow that passes by on a wall, and once we pass by, nobody notices. So we say of ourselves we're going to do one thing, but God might have another one planned for us, for those of you that believe in God. And if you don't, that's okay with me. So that concludes my gardening segment today. There's a mycelium on that. So there you can see the plugs installed. There's 100 plugs in each one of these bags, and once again they're sealed, so once you open it you have to use it right away. Now one thing I wanted to point out, which I forgot, is your log shouldn't be any bigger in diameter than 14 inches, and that would be right pushing the limit, and about 3.5 to 4 feet long is good. 3 to 4 feet long. You can also use big blocks of wood like this. And there's my little pile of logs I got in the background there. I'm going to be using those. I don't think I'll be using these because they sat out on the ground. I should have had them up off the ground and actually salvaged them from the garbage dump, our local garbage dump. Somebody had cleaned out some trees they didn't want, so they're going to end up being firewood. But if you're going to do them, you put your plugs around the next to the bark, about 2 inches apart, okay? Just on the one side, and then put them up on a pallet if you have it, or just some 2x4s or whatever up off the ground, and that's the same thing with your shiitake logs. So here you can see I got my shiitake logs. Those ones on top are actually just to keep this sheet down, which I'm using as shade in the north end of the house. And I'm going to move these logs up under my sea buckthorn. And there's my logs with plucked wax. It's a good idea to give these guys a good frequent soaking. Unless you're in a really rainy spot, then it's not too much of a worry. Just leave them and neglect them, and it may even do better. And then when you need to initiate the fruiting, you need to soak these things. At least like soak them overnight. Put them somewhere where you can run a sprinkler on them, or soak them in a big tub or trough or something like that. So I hear. This is me experimenting, so we'll see what happens next year.